So yes, going back, these are the place where you find the original Jupyter notebook images that is provided by Jupyter. And we start from these images when we create our images. So what we have is something similar to this, actually. We start with a from statement, and then specify a specific image that is the starting image. And then especially if you want to install anything that has to be installed by root, you can set the root user in this file. This is just called a Docker file. It could be simple or it could be complicated. This one is very simple. This is a complete Docker file, except that this image doesn't exist, so it needs to be changed. You can then run apt updates because these are based on Ubuntu. And you can install a system package that works with Ubuntu. And after you have done this, you need to set the user back to the user notebook anyway. But also if you want to run an installation of something in Python, for instance, you can also do this here, and then it will be inside the created image after this Docker file is run. It will always have the software when you start it up. Okay, so a Docker file can be this simple, and it can be more complicated. Yes. So some of the images that we have a lot of dependencies, and if you want to create an image that is smaller and only the dependency you actually need, we have all of our Docker files that we maintain at GitHub here at the Uninet Sigma 2 and Helmchart's Docker files repository. You can do this. You could either make a fork, or you can have just clone it locally and do whatever changes you want locally. You then go and edit the Docker file you need or want to change. If you want one that is much smaller than the one we have, there is, for instance, this single user base notebook, which is based on a smaller notebook at Jupyter repository. And you can edit this file, which is then our version of this, and check out if you want to just use it as it is or change anything. Anyway, if you make a Docker image based on this image here, it will be smaller. And this one will work with the Jupyter Hub. If you want something that works with Jupyter, you need to go to Jupyter here on the repository instead. Okay, so now you have cloned the repository. You made some changes similar to the example, and these slides, we can also share them. You will then go into the directory that has the Docker file in it, and you use Docker commands to build a new Docker image. So you have this this one is for tagging, and this one is for building the Docker file that is in this directory. So if you can also specify a directory here, but if you just specify the dot, it will build the Docker file that is in here. And yeah, so this is Docker files, which is the script to make a Docker image. And when you run this build, you will get a Docker image. And if you want to use the image that you just made in the NIRD Toolkit, you need to publish it. So then you have to have an account on Docker Hub or another repository that is public. So this is one version. It's probably the simplest version. You log in on the command line. This is all done on command line. You will tag it. You already have this. This is what you call the image when you built it, but you also need to be able to call it by your user in Docker Hub in order to push it there. So that this is basically just a reference in Docker Hub, and your username in Docker Hub needs to be here. And then you can push it, and it will appear in Docker Hub. And any image that is in Docker Hub, you can change the image that you start the NIRD Toolkit service with. So, but again, this build could be simple, it could be difficult, it depends on what kind of software you want, and it needs to be at least compatible with Ubuntu in order to work in the setup. Okay. And then the last step, you have Docker Hub and you have NIRD Toolkit. And then I have gone through this part. So as long as you go for Docker Hub, you just put the name of the full name of the image in Docker Hub and nothing else in the field for the image. Yeah, if you pick another repository, you need to have the repository name also in the description. So here we have an example for another repository, which is Quay. Oops. Quay is also in a repository where you can put Docker images public. Yeah, I think that was it. Could be a possibility. It depends on how how permanent you need the software to be, and if you need to install anything with root permissions, it needs to be this way, because you can't. Yeah. Okay, I think that was all I wanted to show for this. I guess I can. Yeah, if you're interested in what these files look like, they are here.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I just want to double check. Is there any questions? Anything else you want to mention, Siri?
No, I think
yeah, then
covered everything.
It's covered, and I will be sending a summary emails later today, and we will try to edit these videos and see how it works and then publish it. Okay, great. Thank you.